In this video, we will discuss many of the ethical issues in construction. I will demonstrate each, along with my view on each issue and potential views from others. The first ethical issue we will discuss is bid rigging. Let's take a look at an example.
Bid rigging is another ethical issue in construction. For this example, we will say that we have 4 subs. The 4 subs can interchangeably do different trades. They can either do mechanical, plumbing, electrical, or specialty trades. Bid rigging is basically where the 4 subs will get together and divide up the bids in hopes of raising their profit. For instance, sub 1 would be designated to win the mechanical bid. Subs 2, 3, and 4 would then throw their bids or place very high bids to where sub 1 would most likely win the mechanical bid. This in turn increases all the bids, decreases each other's competition, hoping that sub 1 would win the mechanical and would get increased profit, and 2, 3, and 4 would each get theirs for plumbing, electrical, and specialty. This also in turn increases the GC's bid and the total contract amount at the end of the project, which in turn could make him lose the bid in general.
Bid rigging was discussed in Professor Olson's Project Controls 2 class. Again, bid rigging is where entities conspire to divide up bids in hopes of raising profit. Bid rigging is unanimously not ethical. In fact, it is actually a criminal offense under Section 1 of the Sherman Antitrust Act, which was passed in 1890. My view of bid rigging is that it is unethical. Yes, it means the subs may get equal work for a project, but it also raises the general contractor's bid. The intention is to increase profit, even though it may risk the general contractor's bid. The second ethical issue is bid shopping. Let's take a look at an example.
Bid shopping is an ethical issue in construction. Let's take a general contractor. The general contractor will make his bid for a project. The bid will be composed of subcontracted bids and the self-performed work with a total amount. Take this portion for instance, and let's say it's the mechanical portion of the bid. This was submitted by a mechanical subcontractor. What happens in bid shopping is a general contractor will take the mechanical sub's bid that was placed and will solicit it to a new entity to inspire a lower bid, in this case, mechanical sub 2. Mechanical sub 2 will then give the general contractor a new bid, and the general contractor will be able to look at both bids and select the one he wants, most likely choosing the second one because he has a leg up after looking at mechanical sub 1's bid. The general contractor will then put in the new bid that mechanical sub 2 gave him.
Bid shopping was also discussed in Professor Olson's Project Controls 2 class. Simply put, bid shopping is soliciting a winning bid to a new entity to inspire a lower bid. Bid shopping is usually seen as unethical, but there are some that view it ethical. There are actually some states that have anti-bid shopping policies. My view is that it is unethical. It goes behind the back of the winner's bid and is based more on favoritism than competition. The third issue we will look at is front-end loading. Here's a visual representation.
Our third ethical issue is cost loading, or front-end loading. In this we have a graph with money as the y-axis and time as the x-axis. The normal cash flow curve is an S-curve with much of the money coming in at the middle of the project. For front-end loading though, we have much of the money coming in at the start. This is because the entity has fabricated higher prices at the start of the job. This is in hopes of increasing the cash flow and improving it.
Front-end loading was discussed in Professor Holly's Project Controls 3 class as we learned how to schedule projects. Front-end loading is where an entity fabricates higher prices at the start of a job to improve cash flow. Potential views vary between this ethical issue. Many see it as ethical and many see it as unethical. Personally, I believe it is unethical because you are lying about expenses so that you benefit. It offsets others' expenses so that your own cash flow can improve. The fourth issue we will look at is retainage. Here is a quick reminder of what retainage is.
Our fourth ethical issue in construction is retainage. Typically, an entity will hold an amount or a percentage of payment till the end of a job during a project. In this case, the owner, when he is about to pay the GC, will hold 10% of the payment amount. The GC will then hold 10% of the payment amount to the subs, because that is what the owner is holding from the GC.
We learned about retainage in Professor Holly's Project 3 class. Retainage is when an entity holds an amount or percentage of payments till the end of the job. Depending on the retainage amounts, it may be seen as ethical or unethical. Many states have a limitation on the amount an entity may retain. I believe retainage is ethical, as long as equal retainage is passed on throughout payments. I believe it is unethical if one of the entities increases retainage to help their own cash flow. The last ethical issue we will look at is the courtesy bid. Here is an example of a courtesy bid.
Our last ethical issue is the courtesy bid. For our example, we will say that there is a project that has been bidded out, and the average bid, or the average bid that most of the bidders knew, was between $1 million and $3 million. And we will say that the owner required that there be alternates included in the bid. Now, what happens with the courtesy bid is a general contractor that's bidding would possibly know that he couldn't take on the next project, and so he will then give a courtesy bid, which is an outrageous amount for the project that he's bidding for. He just does it just as a way just to show that he acknowledged the project and he's trying to keep a good relationship with the owner. In this case, we'll say that the courtesy bid was $8 million with no alternate, which did not follow the guidelines, and was very highly priced.
We learned about the courtesy bid in Professor Olson's Project Controls 2 class. A courtesy bid is where an entity submits an outrageous bid that he or she knows won't win. Courtesy bids are often seen as ethical. My view is that courtesy bids are ethical because it isn't submitted to take advantage of anyone. It is simply a way for the general contractor to acknowledge the project but respectfully deny the opportunity. Thank you for watching.